Welcome back to the Elle-Sera podcast. And today's guest is someone you all know and love very well, my partner in crime, Kelly Bond. Today's episode is going to be a recap of 2024 and a look back of what we've done this year, the highs, the lows, the, oh my God, what the fuck are we doing? Moments, basically.
Which there's been many this year.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get right into it. How are you, Kelly?
I'm grand. It has been an amazing year. I think we've just been saying them before we even started, like some of the most monumental decisions have been made. Some of like the biggest F-ups have been made, but we made it. We're through another year. We're doing all right. We're doing okay.
I mean, at the moment, I'm living in a permanent state of anxiety. I've got like anxiety just thinking about the stuff I have to do and on my plate at the moment.
Honestly, like the last 6 weeks, I reckon if I wasn't taking Elle-Sera, I'd be climbing walls. I think I've got to say the golden pill will see us through a few sticky situations. But
if we didn't have the magnesium, I definitely wouldn't be sleeping as good as I am.
Oh, let's kick off with that, shall we?
Yeah.
We launched a new product this year.
Mm-hmm.
Magnesium.
I can't say that we really thought about it hard. It was just like,
it was a no-brainer. I would say every other message that we would get at certain periods of time would be from women that would say, I'm feeling all the benefits of Elle-Sera, but my sleep's still really crap. Like, what can we do about that? And the amount of times that I would see you recommending other people's magnesium. And then obviously it was just that conversation of like, right, let's do a magnesium, but it's you. So it's got to be
the best.
Dog bollocks of magnesium.
Of course it has, yeah.
So why is Elle-Sera magnesium the magnesium of choice?
Funnily enough, I was just in the hairdressers and there's a lady in there who's not only our customer, she's an avid podcast listener. So shout out to Cameron. And she said, oh, I've yet to try your magnesium. Why did you do that? And I said, because if I was going to make a product, it's got to be the best. So there's this new technology in supplements called liposomes, and I'd been interested in that for like over a year anyway. And there's loads of companies that say they do liposomal products, but they're not. You know, I mean, listen, this industry is unregulated and it's like the Wild West. And until somebody third party tests things, then you don't really know what's in it. So there's lots on the market that are, you know, saying they're liposomal, but they're actually not. So I found a company that are as, you know, cutthroat as me in terms of standards, and they make true liposomal products. So I had a bit of a chat with them, and when I was chatting to them, they were like, you seem to be a lot more self-assured than lots of people that ring up. And I said, oh really? And they were like, yeah, because I knew exactly what I wanted and I knew how many I wanted, and I wasn't like toe dipping. They were like, oh, people usually order like 100, and I was going in with like 10,000 as my first order, you know what I mean? But I'm not a toe dipper, and that's just me all over. So we, set about kind of making the best magnesium. There's loads of different types of magnesium. So I picked magnesium glycinate because that's the one that's kind of best for sleep, really good for anxiety as well, which are the two things that our women complain about the most. Again, the RDA level for a woman is 300 milligrams. Guess what ours is? 300 milligrams. But not only that, let's say there's another product on the market, a magnesium glycinate that's 300 milligrams, but it's not a liposomal. Then how much are you actually absorbing of that? Maybe 10, 20% of it. So out of 300 milligrams, you might be absorbing like 60 milligrams, maybe 100, but you won't be absorbing a 300. Whereas with a liposomal, it's like bang on, you know, you're getting the massive absorption, you know. So not only is magnesium glycinate really bioavailable and great, but also in a liposomal form is really special. And we added it with P5P, which again enhances absorption. So, and then last but not least, I was like, what color can we make it? I mean, lots of people make clear capsules and yeah, fine, whatever. But you want it to be a memorable experience. So we went for this beautiful like vegan chlorophyll capsule. So it's been dyed naturally with chlorophyll, which is plant blood. So it's really special, nice and green color. And everyone's been raving about it.
They've been loving it, absolutely. So we've gone magnesium, goes hand in hand beautifully with the golden pill, the green and golds. Prompts me to like the most ridiculous 9:30 o'clock message ever. Those of you that follow the podcast or follow the Elle-Sera socials know Elissa is a creative little mind and likes to send me these ridiculous messages at like ungodly hours. And we had one recently. It's possibly one of my favourite projects that we've worked on this year.
It was absolutely amazing. And by the way, it just shows with a team of like, 2.5 actually. what you can do. And I say it all the time, but if we had actual marketing budgets, it would be fucking frightening what I'd be able to put out.
Yeah.
I'm sat there driving along in the car and I heard this banger come on the radio. I was like, wow, God, I've not heard this for a while. Banger. Black and Gold by Sam Sparro. And I thought, oh my God, I've got it. So then I text Kelly immediately. I went, Kelly, can you sing Black and Gold by Sam Sparro? Is it the right key? She went, yeah, I can make it any key. I was like, okay, cool. Let's rewrite it. Let's make it green and gold and launch this with the Magnesium, which is what we've done.
Yeah. But obviously, from a non-musical stance, everyone just goes, oh yeah, you just rewrite the lyrics and it's dead easy. And I was like, but every backing track for that particular song has got such like ingrained robotic backing vocals that are all going green and gold, black and gold on the end of it. And I was like, right, well, they've all got to come out. So it was an absolute labour of love. I have to give a shout out to David Gorst from Alibi Productions, who actually helped with this. We stripped that entire track down. And there is 8 versions of my vocal on that. And it was her most hilarious experience because I'm like re-singing these lyrics to the point where now he and we in the office and anyone who's listened to it now won't sing the original. Yeah. They sing green and gold instead. But I got all dressed up like the Elle-Sera fairy at Christmas.
Yeah, so then I was like, well, what can we do? So we've got the track. We'd rewritten the lyrics to make them all about magnesium and like the symptoms of magnesium and stuff, which was cool and sick and whatever. Kelly's done a sterling job of recording the track. And actually, I didn't realise like how much effort it actually is. She's got to like sing it like, it's got 8 different layers on. But I mean, fair play, great musical production. I think it's amazing. So, and then I was like, yeah, but I don't just want it to be just some video of some magnesium with this over the top. It's not going to like carry the same weight as, wow, you've done a musical track. So I was like, we need to shoot a music video. And then I was like, you know, obviously I've got 1,000 things to do and trying to be a mother as well. But I'm thinking, what can we do for this music video? And we haven't quite finished the music video yet, but we've shot the first half of it where I think the vision was you are like the Elle-Sera fairy that's here to grant the wishes of our women with the green and gold.
Yeah. A duet of emerald and gold.
Yeah.
That's what it ends up being, isn't it? But we had a giggle. I love those days. And actually, it was nice to go back because I really missed those days. And we were talking about them recently where we would just go to like Dunelm or IKEA and we would just go, me, you, a gold decanter, some pills and an iPhone. And we would do these incredible images. And then now it's like we've stepped it up a gear. We've got Phoebes in. She's got the lens and the camera and all of the stuff that needs to make it like magnificent. But actually, when you go back
does it sell more product though?
No, it doesn't sell more product.
It doesn't sell more product.
I actually think people used to buy into it far more because they loved the extremes that we would go to get that particular shot. Like the ones that we used to do at IKEA, you were like super heavily pregnant at the time where we were just like rolling around IKEA taking pictures upon like light bulbs and tea towels.
I'm still like I still have, I'm talking like I'm some kind of fucking big Unilever brand or something. I'm not like, you know, I've still got small brand mentality because I believe if you look after your bottom line, forget the top line, but look after your bottom line. You know, my number one thing is profitability. You have to have a profitable business or you cannot survive. Do not subscribe to these people who are in London doing fundraising and investment rounds and all the rest of it and just pushing their margins as far as possible to the point where they're completely unprofitable. And fair enough, maybe we'll grow at a slower rate. Maybe it will only ever be a lifestyle brand, but you know, at least I'll have 100% equity and, you know, a profitable business at the end of the day.
I think it's the ownership of the community as well. The moment that any aspect of Elle-Sera was ever relinquished, you kind of have to let go of all of these people who have grown to be, I know they are too, but especially to me, they're so important. Like we wouldn't be here without our customers, and that the Elle-Sera community in 2024 has really shone through. We've done some really good in-person events that we maybe didn't have the opportunity or the time or the resources to do. So we've done one in London this year. We did one in Manchester. We've just done one in Scotland. I think next year we're kind of looking across the board. We're going to kind of go to Ireland maybe.
Yeah,
but
we did one in Brunch Club.
We did one in Brunch Club.
Supposed to be John Lewis, but
yeah, John Lewis
fucked us off.
Their loss. Their loss.
Fucked us off last minute.
I know, rude. It is what it is. It's fine. We'll remember that.
Yeah.
But there's been some other brands that have, particularly heroed us and really wanted to work alongside us. I have loved being part of the Gen M unapologetic, erotic MTIC campaign that was on this year.
That was great.
We were on a massive billboard in the middle of, Piccadilly Circus, Leicester Square. We were on every billboard we were on the front and the back of the metro. That was incredible to see Elle-Sera.
It is mad, right? 4 years ago when I was sat there and I remember being in my apartment and I'm just looking at fonts on the computer till I landed on one. I thought, that looks great. Yeah, I really like that. And then that was it. That's the logo, And then now I'm looking at it and it's in the middle of Leicester Square and I think, fucking hell, if people could see.
But that logo very nearly wasn't still with us. There was a period of time where, Elle-Sera could have literally been stripped away from you, and that was pretty scary as well. I mean, yeah, we've never really talked about it long scale, but that was a very hairy moment. We've had a lot of hairy moments.
I'm still having hairy moments.
Yeah, we're still having hairy moments.
I've just had a couple of calls this morning that are leading into my hairy moments.
I know. I think the bigger that
really feeding into that amazing anxiety that I feel every day.
But the bigger that you get, that's what happens. There are a lot of more eyes on you and a lot more people, almost wanting you to fail.
People spend more time looking at negatives. This is fact, okay? And they know this in Silicon Valley. That's why it shows you negative. Your algorithm shows you negative news because you stop and scroll and you get angry about these things and you stop on it more than you would at positive news. Yeah. That's why we only get fed certain types of news all the time, but we could, go on about that all day long. So you're not seeing the section of society that's going on about how great stuff are. You're seeing the tiny section of society that's getting angry and trying to do things for clickbait and likes and, pitting people against each other. But yeah, we should talk about other stuff that's happened this year. So I think one of my learning curves for this year was, so in January, I was in Mexico doing a photo shoot for Elle-Sera. Beautiful pictures, lovely, love them. And also while I was there, I met up with a company called Recharge, who were a software company. And, dead relaxed around the pool, having cocktails, whatever. Little Grace is chatting to them. And then they just kept talking about the competitors. And we'd had a few problems with Recharge.
We'd had a lot of problems with Recharge.
So I'm ringing Kelly going, what are our problems with Recharge? I've got them right next to me in Mexico. And off the back of kind of what Kelly had said and also the back of what they'd been saying about one of their competitors, and I'd looked at one of their competitors, I thought, wow, they actually really sound good and they seem to have solved all the problems that Recharge have got. And without much more thought, I thought, let's move to Skio. Let's move to Skio, all our subscribers, let's move the software over. And it just so happened to be at a point of where we changed marketing agencies at the same time. We had changed the software platform, and you'd gone to Australia.
Yeah, you made all of these monumental decisions the day before I was going to Australia for 3 weeks.
And it was just
it's like the mind boggled. I was like, what are you doing?
And both Recharge is an American company, Skio is a Canadian company, so you can't get hold of them in normal working hours. It was probably the single worst decision I've made in the business in 4 years.
Yeah.
And actually, a couple of other decisions I'd made at the same time around marketing, around new website. Again, I can reflect back now and go, 4 decisions I made in the space of 1 week that were absolutely catastrophic at the time. And I was like, what the fuck? So much anxiety, so many sleepless nights, literally lost so many subscribers just with the flip over from one company to the next. And what, when you're listening to these salespeople, they're going, oh, it's okay, we've never lost one yet, and it's been great, and blah, blah, blah. But they're salesmen. They're going to tell you the best of the best.
It wasn't that they actually lost them. It was all of the new customers. So it was at a time where it was Easter. Before I had gone away, it was all in place that they were getting one of our fabulous free gifts that they get around the Easter break. So everyone was wanting to subscribe to get on board with this particular product that we were giving alongside it. I think it was the tote bag. And so we had this sudden flurry of new customers, which would have been absolutely fine because the infrastructure was in place. We've worked alongside ShipBob. It was all going to be fine. But then every new customer basically just got it was just a one time. They weren't a subscriber.
And I was like, oh oh my God. So these people are expecting to get another order and they're not going to get it. And now I have to go back to them and say, I'm really sorry. This is awful.
It was just, we got them back. I think we came back and sent some emails and we got them back and some phone calls. And I think throughout all of it, it's just about honesty and it's about being real with people and saying, I'm really, hold our hands up. It's a complete fluff up on our part. We're really sorry. Come back and we'll make it work for you again. But it was a nightmare. But we've had a few of them. There's a lot of things that go wrong in Elle-Sera, and what's quite annoying is that it's normally the stuff that's outside of our control remit. So anything that leaves us goes to wherever it needs to go, doesn't necessarily always get there, and you're just left thinking, how difficult is it to get something from A to B? It's just insane.
This morning we've had a flurry of emails, and you've been sat there dealing with it this morning because we're giving away a free journal at the moment with every new subscription, and they've put in and onto our current subscribers, and they've put in the journal but not the product.
Yeah.
Like, fucking hell. That's that's basic. Get that right.
But that there is the difference between, and it always comes back to, because everyone goes, oh, well, things are so like military precision and everything's done by apps and there can be no error made. Sometimes you need humans to assess that there's no human error being made. A robot has made a human error in not packing the right thing. Well, whereas a human would have gone, oh, well, hold on a minute. They're not getting the product there, so we should have put that in.
So, no, it's actually humans who've picked this or not picked it.
No, but what I'm saying to you is that it needed to be a human somewhere that spotted that was wrong and then it wouldn't have happened. But because clearly no one on that day made any sort of reference to it. It should just be
done by weight. This is right, say for this month, you're adding an extra little present in. Okay, great. So there's your packet and there's your journal and that's the weight of it. And if they're not the same weight all the way through, then flag. That's what it should be. That's how data can help you with human interaction. I'm just can't
But you got to have a human there to view it. And clearly there wasn't one there on that day.
I just feel like they've probably picked 100 plus orders.
Oh, and the rest. I mean, you've got to look at that. That's fine. Forget about that. That'll be all right. We'll figure that
fine.
out. We'll figure it out. It's the daily challenges of the day-to-day in the office at Elle-Sera, and there's probably a lot of days where it's like that, but maybe it's just not relayed. They're actually not problematic days because it keeps you on your toes and it keeps you reminded that, you've just got to make sure you're doing everything you possibly can to give that customer the very best experience. They're not the issues. It's when things happen where it's like, 4 or 5 weeks down the line, a customer's gone, you've taken money off me again and you've gave me another delivery. And actually, we haven't taken any money off them. They've received a parcel that we literally sent 5 weeks ago that Royal Mail or Every are still going to charge us for because it's arrived there, even though we did it track 48. There's a lot of issues that, I'd love to sprinkle a magic wand across.
It's literally every business in e-com.
Absolutely.
It's a real pain in the arse.
But I go back to it because we're real and we're honest and we hold our hands up and we just rectify the problem and we don't ever put it back on. I've not got my post, go and speak to Royal Mail or Every or DPD or FedEx. Go speak to them. Because then it always comes back on us. Just from the get-go, the moment a customer says to us, I've not got it, not a problem, let us sort it out for you. Because we're just living in a world now where customer service is, and you've got really high expectations of customer service. I don't think that it's there, but then people are bowled over when they get decent service these days. I know I am, and I like to, make sure I talk about it.
And people say we're really expensive, and I can tell you right now that compared to our competitors, we are not. If you were to buy the same quality tablet, I could talk about some of our competitors. One's charging £150, one's charging £89, another's charging £79. Yep. Out of the ones that are in our bracket, we are the cheapest of them all. And I'll tell you now that you get more out of us in terms of customer service. I frequent really nice places around the world, and my expectation, and it's expensive, but that's the level of standard that I'm at. And I'm like, whether it's a hotel or a restaurant or whatever, I'm like, I want to bring that kind of customer service to a product that's not crazy expensive, that is affordable. And I'll argue the toss with somebody who says it's not affordable, because I'll tell you now, it really is. It's so competitively priced. And in 4 years, I've never raised the price of that product, even though everything around us has gone up. But that's economies of scale. Mm-hmm. The bigger we go, so then it shares the burden, and that's why it's always stayed the same. In fact, I give you more now than ever. Have you seen the journal? It's absolutely sick. Like, genuinely, I've seen worse journals that are charging 20 quid for that. It's absolutely amazing.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Apologies for interrupting this podcast, but I need to ask a favour. If you're enjoying this podcast so far, then please hit that subscribe button right now. I'll be straight up and honest that I want to see this podcast grow and flourish into something that I'm really proud of. And the only way that I can do that is with your help. So if you've ever learned anything useful from these conversations, then please return the favour by liking, rating, subscribing, and maybe even sharing it with your friends. Thanks very much. Let's get back to the episode. So, and I really treat our community with respect. And I hear other founders who do not treat their community with the respect that they deserve. It's all a numbers game. They never get involved with them. They never speak to them. It's literally just, no, I never touch products. I never get involved. They have a bot that does their customer service for them. Things like that.
But care costs. And it's when we sit there and we go, such and such is doing this much turnover and such is doing this turnover. And I think it's genuinely because there isn't that care or that compassion for their consumer. They are just a number, and caring costs money. Like the amount of effort that we put into making Elle-Sera an experience and something that people want to be a part of. We could literally just send out a packet of pills with no personalised cards, with no gifts, with no airs or graces, no happy birthday, I've noticed it's your birthday, here's some flower. Like we could do all of that and it could scale like massively. But that's not the beauty of, that's not what you wanted to create. And I feel I have to keep reminding you that.
Sometimes I just think, what the fuck am I doing? I was maybe spending too much time thinking about this and actually not spending enough time thinking about scale. I mean, sometimes I do think that, because I think maybe we should be ramping things up now. But I've always been like, look after the customers, they're more important. That's kind
There's
of
a bit of yin and yang there, and there's a bit of give and take. And I think the moment that you stop that, I think we've now set such a high standard. I know I wouldn't ever step back from being that.
That's our culture.
You can't do that.
Anybody who comes into this business, that's our culture. Number one priority. Like, that's it. This is how we treat our customers.
We're just going to have to breathe
so
that
you,
as a culture.
Well, yeah, 100%. So you're either on board with it and doing this, out of hours, doing this, replying to an email when you can, going to the nth degree. If you don't know the answer, go and find somebody who can get the answer. Don't be one of these people who just like,
I knew absolutely nothing about e-com, about hormonal health, about supplementation, about sleep, about anything 4 years ago. And I genuinely think if I could do it as someone who is not an academic, who is, maybe didn't even have much of an interest in that particular space, I'm really excited that, there will be people that come into the brand that can be sponges and can absorb and hopefully be as passionate about it as I am. Because it needs to be that this culture goes right the way through it. And I don't think ever Elle-Sera customers will ever feel like they are just a number. They will feel very special. And that's our mission.
I know you take it so personally, whereas I'm a bit like, whatever.
I do. True. I take it really personally.
Whereas like somebody came on to us the other day, there's been a misprint in our booklets. And by the way, we must have printed 20,000 of them. So
in 4 years, no one's ever mentioned it to us. I'm heavily dyslexic, so I'm no good at proofreading. Alyssa's profession is in journalism, so I am shocked to the core that you didn't pick it up. But neither has anybody else that's printed it or anybody else that's read it.
By the way, no, it's not a misprint. It's just there's
double word.
There's the. That's it.
Yeah.
And I think we haven't obviously not been in 4 years because we've reinvented it a few times since then. So it must have been our last round that there's a just an extra word in there. And some woman was like, well, you're such an unprofessional company, blah blah blah. And like I was just a bit like, well, fuck her, because like we know that's not true.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have that opinion, like when we've got a wealth of all the other resources for you, and yes, we've got a misprint, and yes, thanks for bringing it to our attention, and yes, we're going to sort it out. Wow, here's a gold star for you.
Yeah.
But instead, she was just being an arsehole, like calling us scammers. I was like, what?
But then I see it on both sides, because you see those, and I do take them really to heart, and it really knocks it, and I get really upset about it.
No, I'm telling you.
And I know
you.
Name
books, right? Name actual books done by publishers and everything, right? Like literally millions of copies, Sunday Times bestsellers. They've got a misprint on the first page.
Yeah.
So listen, it happens
not
to
even
the best
that
of
though.
us.
No, my favourites are the ones where they yell at me because I've sent their pills to the wrong address, but they've not yet told me me that they've moved, but obviously my crystal ball was in the garage that day, and sorry about that. Didn't remember that you had moved house because you hadn't told me. But let's just fix it and get it sorted. Women, look at us. Look at how many times we've made those little errors and gone, oh God, I completely forgot. I'm so sorry. So by them saying that to me, I'm just like, you need these gold pills even more than you genuinely think that you do. Don't worry about it. I'll get them to you. It's fine. And they're grateful for that. Whereas other companies would just go, well, sorry, would you have that problem with Amazon? Would you shout at Amazon for sending it to an address that you've not given them? Probably not.
I think the other thing that comes, I forgot to use my discount code.
I forgot to use my 10% discount code.
Right. Our fault. Sorry.
Our fault. We naturally just give it them though.
No problem.
Correct it.
I couldn't imagine if I rang up Reese and said I forgot to use my discount code, they would give a shit. I don't think they will. But then, what does it matter to me? Like, I want that loyalty and I want people to think, oh, well, wow, what a great company. We're sound. End of the day, what would I want? Yeah, I would want that. Yeah. I would want that. And by the way, I would go and tell people, you'll never guess what.
And they are baffled that you send them that and they go, oh my God, like I just didn't expect that. I'm like, well, you asked, you got.
Yeah.
Good. Abby Clancy.
I was just about to bring that up myself.
Let's go Abby Clancy Gate. Wow, that was a
wild summer. Yeah. And everybody thinks, oh, how much have you paid Abby Clancy to do that? We didn't pay her one penny.
We didn't.
She just said it. And I was like, well, first of all, we didn't even know she was our customer.
No.
One of her friends told her about our products in Portugal and she bought it then and there. And she started using it. And then we were down in London, weren't we, doing podcasts? And then they'd messaged us saying, oh, we'd like Elissa to come on the podcast because Abby's one of your customers. And we're like, oh my God, yeah, that'd be great.
But then before that even hit, we were expecting of that. So I was thinking this is going to be a catalyst. This will be really good for us. But then again, you were somewhere where there was zero phone signal. So you weren't seeing it coming. You're in the Lake District. And all of a sudden I was just getting ba-da-ding, 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 ba-da-ding. And I was like, what has happened? And it must have been a weekend where Abby and Pete had done the therapy crouch and basically it said hailing Elle-Sera as the reason that their sex life was still very active and fantastic. And we had every customer known to man sending us screen grabs and screen recordings of it. Oh my God, Abby Clancy's just been talking about the golden pill and how amazing it's been for her sex life. And I was like,
no, I'll tell you what, who really needs the credit on that? Because yeah, it's one thing talking about it on a pod, but it was quite another when a journalist lifted those quotes and put it in the Daily Mail, and it was that really, I could kiss whoever that was. In fact, I was just trying to look at who that was. I could literally kiss them.
But straight away off that, it was, what is this golden pill? And I think she's a very, very smart lady. And I think she knew that is exactly what would happen. And that's why you were on that podcast and you had that conversation about what is the golden pill? Why is it working for me? Why has my sex life improved so much? Why has my anxiety gone back down? And then, wow. It was insane the amount of orders that came through based on Abby. But they're still coming through now because, again, it's an education piece. It's people are still going back. They're still listening to that podcast. You're still explaining to them, this is the reason that it works. It's not just like a male Viagra. You're not just popping it and it having that particular
hydraulic
benefit.
Effect in your penis.
This is a long, this is a long term.
No, exactly. No, it was amazing. And I tell you what was more amazing. So we sat obviously in the office and I was like, Kelly was doing one side of the orders. She was like printing all the like stickers out and it was all hands on deck. We were bringing in reinforcements, loads of our friends, family. Can you help us pack orders, whatever? And then, so I'm sticking on the stickers, right, for everyone's names. And I'm not really looking at them, but I looked at like a couple of them. And one, I was like, fucking hell, you'll never guess who that is. Like, you're like buzzing, like household name. And then about 10 orders later, I was like, you'll never guess who that is. Do you know what I mean? And we were like, oh my God, couldn't believe it. Yeah. And then we got, like, there were some absolutely amazing people who bought it. Like, proper celebrity, bona fide. We even got Hollywood star.
Yeah, I've got Hollywood star on it.
Yeah.
We'll not kiss and tell, but, those days were crazy. If you sit there and you look at how, when they go like, the Daily Mail or the Daily Star or the newspaper wants to do a piece on all of these celebrities that are taking Elle-Sera, and it tends to be, you know, the very northern Corrie-based Hollyoaks, East, you know,
the ones who are like going on record. But I'm telling you, if the ones who are not on record had like a long list of who's who, they're amazing. And we haven't got the funds to like pay them, and nor should we. If they want to come back and say, "Oh, I love using the golden pill," then amazing. But loads of people say, "Have you ever done influencer marketing?" And we haven't. We've never done influencer marketing.
Our influencer marketing is our customers. They are our influencers, because their opinion to me would mean far more than watching a celebrity endorsement. If I say I've got an issue, last night it was a case of like, my endometriosis is kicking off. I want some recommendations for some reflexology in my local town. I'm not looking at a celebrity for that. I'm looking for all of the people in my realms that also suffer with the same issues that I suffer with. If you're going and having a conversation with your girlfriends, be it all in Portugal, like Abby Clancy was about, you know, hey girls, who else is a bit dry down there? You're going to listen to what they're saying more than listening to what Kim Kardashian's talking about, because I'm pretty sure
she's paid to talk about it.
Exactly.
Well, that's the thing, because it was organic, completely organic. It had so much authority and authenticity, and that's so important. And it was just incredible to see the amount of people who bought it off the back of that and still with us. You know what I mean? We had some really great press after it, but long may it continue. It's been absolutely amazing. I always think, well, what's the next big spike? You know, I mean, that really did. I mean, I can tell you now that before that, when that happened, obviously we took a new marketing company on in January and we just weren't jiving. So they had to go after about 5 months, 6 months or something like that. So we'd taken on a new marketing company, and I was a bit like, lads, you know, I mean, everybody knows I absolutely hate Meta and I hate Google. I hate the fact I've got to use it. I hate the money I've got to spend on there. And it is just a small part of our marketing plan. But everyone's like, no, you can't scale without it. And I'm like, I'll show you how you scale without it. And that was just a masterclass in how you scale without using Meta and Google. And I'm really behind that.
We did a talk about it at D2C Live.
Yeah,
and you basically said traditional PR is the way forward. But it's always word of mouth. And it goes back to that thing of make people feel special, and they'll share that with the world. Give them a good experience. They'll go out and they'll influence like you would not believe. They are the best cheerleaders for your brand are your consumers. And I know there are businesses out there, and I know that there's even been times that, you know, we've even had that conversation of, oh, maybe we should go down influencer marketing route. I just don't think it's right for us.
No, I know. I feel like maybe try it. End of the day, we're here to scale a business. That's what I'm looking at it. Like, how do you get the message out to more people? And unfortunately, we're quite good in the fact that we don't just, lots of people request our product, and they might have massive accounts. They might have 2 million followers.
Yeah.
They request our product. We don't put pressure on them to say anything about it.
No.
If they like it, I'm thinking of someone in particular. She said about it, Vicky Patterson. She wanted the product. She's already given us shout outs and stuff. She's using the product. That's on her. Like, we've never asked her to say anything.
No.
Because we like it to be genuine. So, and that's important to us. And I think if we ever did work with an influencer, they would have had to come on and actually be a fan of the brand anyway.
They'd have had to have taken it.
Absolutely.
I remember.
That's important. And so I feel like that's the way to do it. Yeah. Are you a fan of the brand anyway? Would you have already done this naturally?
Yeah.
Then fine.
But what sometimes goes in our favour is the times that, like, I've had conversations with journalists and I've said to them, like, I would rather you not write about us next week. And them go, well, what do you mean? And well, you won't have had the ability to write about us. You won't have experienced those benefits. You've got to be taking the golden pill for at least 8 to 12 weeks to really feel them. So I'm happy to have a conversation with you about why that is. Let's talk about your journey. Why is it you're even wanting to take them? You know, is this just for a hit piece, or is it going to benefit you in the long run? And the amount of people that have almost been taken aback and felt like I'm being quite rude and said, keep your money. Like, don't waste your money if you're not going to commit to doing 2 months, 3 months on it. And then when they get to that 3 month sweet spot, they go, oh, I completely understand now. And then they write these beautiful.
We just had a great review in the Independent, didn't we?
We did.
She said after 2 months taking the golden pill, I'm like a dog on heat. I was like, that's great. And that's an independent newspaper, independent journalist, completely independent. Because you're always a bit like, we've been reviewed. What are they going to say? But I
think having that initial conversation, not just sending things out willy-nilly and saying to people like, try this and tell us what you think. It's that backstory of, please don't write about us any earlier than 3 months after taking this. And if you're going to, just don't waste your time, because you're not giving us a fair representation.
Yeah.
And and we have that with customers where they're like, can I just, buy one pack? If you got a trial pack, have you got like 3 pills I can try? I'm like, well, no, because it's not going to do anything for you. And it would just be a waste of everyone's time and money and effort. So if you're not going to commit to it for 2 months in the most polite possible way, just don't bother.
It's kind of like, you've got to almost see it as more of like, a prescription, right?
Yeah.
So this isn't like a protein shake where you're trying it and you like the taste, right? This is not that. This is, okay, let's use an example of, well, I don't know, Mounjaro or Ozempic. They're in my head at the moment because I've been always talking about them on the podcast. But if you took that for 1 week, and everybody knows that you've got to be taking it quite over multiple periods of time, don't you? And people go, well, I'm not seeing the results. I've not lost 20 stone. Well, of course not. You've only been doing it for a week.
And a lot of it comes down as well to other people. So you'll get women that will message us after week 3 or 4 and they'll say, I know you told me to take it for 8 to 12 weeks, but my friend Sandra took it for 2 weeks and said her sleep was incredible and that her mood swings had gone and her brain fog lifted. And a lot of that is, it's all personal. That's the beauty of it. It's that not the one size fits all. Well, no, one size does fit all because it's adapting to what your needs are. And your friend might really need that, but actually what's fundamentally wrong with you might be something completely different, and it is going to take a little bit longer. You've got to do a cycle,
and
2 cycles.
Yeah, of course, 1,000,000%. You've got to do 3 cycles. You have 2 ovaries, 1, 2, 3. So you've got to make sure you're hitting both. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a period from one side, usually the other side, well, maybe you don't. Maybe you have 2 on one side and then 1 on the other. That's why I say 3 months. Plus, all the clinical data for the ingredients has said 90 days. So there's another reason. You've got to give it a fair whack. You've got to let it accumulate in that blood plasma and actually give it a chance of
some people can
working.
be really susceptible to it if they've not taken anything before. A lot of people are taking this off the back of something like the contraceptive pill or antidepressants, and they're wanting to kind of like wean off in some way. So there's probably a lot of that in their system as well.
And let's not forget, everyone's different height, body weight. Height and weight, of course, that makes a difference. We've obviously made the dosages for like the average woman, but let's say one lady would take 3 to 4 weeks to start feeling effects, and some lady maybe 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know, you know what I mean? And your body composition, and your lifestyle, and your diet, and I could go on about the variables. I hate that question more than anything. It's not black and white.
No,
it's really not black and white. It absolutely drives me crazy. Are you deficient? Are you even absorbing things? What's your gut lining like? Do you eat junk food all the time? What's your sleep like?
Yeah.
There's like crazy amounts of variables.
Mm-hmm.
Since I've been taking our magnesium, and I've always taken magnesium, by the way, but since I've been taking ours and really trying to get into a good sleep hygiene, I cannot tell you how, and I've given up coffee at the same time. I can't tell you how good I am in the gym. And I walk in and I go, oh my God, I'm raw dogging again today. No coffee, no tea, no nothing, no stimulant whatsoever before the gym. I am the strongest I have ever been in my life. And I was like, it's got to be the sleep. It's got to be the better sleep. It's real. I mean, I'm top of the leaderboard and I have been for 6 months in that gym, and it's a tough gym. Not to toot me on horn, I'm just telling you like the effects of like great sleep and great supplementation into enhancing. And by the way, if I wasn't top of the leaderboard, fuck me, I would fight till tooth and nail until I was.
I know.
I can't. By the way, I'm only beating one lady by like 100th of a second on something. I think, how can she walk in here every day and not want to beat me? I can't believe it. Like, she's just letting me be top.
I think you need to be there at the same time so you can understand. Maybe she just knows who you are and she just knows she's not going to let her off
but
this.
The point was, because I thought I could go better than that time. But the reason I haven't is because she hasn't beaten my time yet. So I thought, well, I'm not going to try and break my own record until she breaks mine. So what, and then we can keep going and see. So
there's always got to be some form of hurdle. You couldn't just keep getting better.
I could.
You've always just got to beat somebody else.
Definitely could. I just I do different challenges, but I can't get over like why she's not walking in there like pissed off.
If I remember rightly, because we had this chat last year, and I think that was up there with one of your goals. You wanted to get in the gym more. You wanted to be at kind of like personal best. Well, there's a lot of things in the way, isn't there?
The fact that the gym is so far away from my house is the biggest thing. It's a 3-hour adventure.
But you stuck with that thing of wanting to do a certain amount of steps and And, you know, if you've cut caffeine out, that's been a big one.
Oh my God, yeah. Like I'm on for my 4th month now. Can't believe it. Like, and had the benefits not been so amazing, then I wouldn't have continued it.
Yeah.
But I remember I used to find it so difficult to fall asleep. My mind would be buzzing. Then I'd be on my phone. Then I'd be doing something. And to the point where I was having to take Nitols, magnesium, and sometimes melatonin. Wow. And I'd wake up in the morning feeling like shit, and I still wouldn't have had a good night's sleep. And I was thinking, oh my God, my reaction time in the car was terrible. I'm thinking, Christ, imagine I'm just operating on a level that down there.
Yeah.
And then I gave up caffeine because I got an norovirus. So I thought, well, I can't stomach a coffee. And then I just, at the same time, I started falling asleep naturally. And I was like, wow, what have I done? Oh, I've given up caffeine. And then never got that 3 o'clock crash anymore. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep it up. And I've not even murmured, not even wanted one since. I can't tell you. And everyone goes, oh, I could never do that. And I'm like, I'm telling you, it's one of the best things I've ever done.
Mine used to be like that with sugar. I really, really struggled. My 3 o'clock lull was, I'd get a banging headache. I'd want to fall asleep. I'd feel shite. And it was like my body saying, you need to go and get a caramel frappe. And it was only when I had brilliant conversations with Professor Frank during PCOS Awareness Month. We did quite a lot of education pieces with the BBC, London Live, all the radio stations, and it kept coming up, and it was lovely to know that I wasn't on my own, and it was a telltale sign, PCOS, insulin resistance, yada, yada, yada. And he was like, just keep fighting it, fight it, try and not do it. And I don't have that crash anymore, but it was horrible. And it's the only time in my life where I've felt that kind of almost addict-like. I don't smoke, I don't drink. I think my phone's possibly my addiction. I'm constantly glued to that. But I understood it. I just was like, I just need to have sugar. But yeah, we've just removed it from our house now. And there'll be certain nights where I'm just like, oh, I could really do with some Malwams. But we don't have them. Sean's been really good. He's on it with me as well. And we've really cut it back. And I've just tried to remove everything out of the way. So yours is probably caffeine exacerbating the fact that you couldn't sleep. Mine was just sugar. And it was just, I was just so dependent on it all the time because it just clearly wasn't making its way around my body the way it should have been. But yeah, and it's when people say like, oh, Elle-Sera's not working for me, and then you speak to them and they're literally getting 2 hours of sleep a night and they're living on caffeine. They're living on 4, 5, 6 cups of coffee. One woman drank 8 cups of coffee, and I was like, straight off the bat, can you steer clear of that? Decaf? No, not even decaf. Just steer clear of that. Decaf's even worse.
Like, it's so toxic. You can't get an organic decaf, and the reason for that is because coffee has naturally got caffeine in it. So if you're drinking a decaf, they've had to put it through loads of big chemical processes to get the caffeine out of it. I just think, well, don't bother. What's the point of having a horrible, shitty drink?
Just find yourself an alternative. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I love a hot drink. So I have tea, love tea. I'm sat here with Dan Riley and we probably bored everyone to death, but we talk about our hero products, and one of his that he's got me onto is Clipper tea. Okay. Clipper tea bags, so they're organic tea. But not only that, it's in an unbleached organic like tea bag pouch as well.
Right.
I mean, wow, they're really setting the world alight with our chat there. But if you're into tea, I would suggest going to the Red Box organic Clipper tea bags like I am. Or a matcha latte, which has got thousands of health benefits.
You love
matcha latte, my God, it's full of antioxidants. It's amazing. Ceremonial matcha. Don't be just getting the shit from Starbucks.
So we've spoke a few about podcast guests. Who's been your favourite this year?
Oh, it's hard to pick a favourite. I've got lots of memorable ones, some for the right reasons and some for the wrong reasons. So I'm sure if you're an avid podcast listener, I mean, sometimes I've been ill. Really ill, turning up doing the podcast thinking I'd rather die than be here. Like, can't breathe, I'm coughing, whatever. My head's like chocker. I'm like, ugh. I think in terms of like great information, I really enjoyed Dr. Sahil, the dentist.
Yeah.
Love that one. In terms of like jaw-dropping moments and somebody who's just amazingly confidently honest, Rebecca Jane. Like, what you see is what you get with her. I just love the fact that she's straight down the line, doesn't chat shit. Love that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why she went into politics. And do you know what? She got out of politics because she was like, they're all lying bastards. I can completely agree with it. When you're somebody who genuinely just wants to make things better, but it's an old boys club and it's never going to happen. And she realised that. She was like, fucking, what's the point?
Yeah.
So she was really good. Who else have we had on? Sam Fox. She was memorable. I was really ill on that one.
You were really ill. I remember
I was
that
like,
one well.
if I could have cancelled that one, I would have cancelled it and rearranged it. But she was already come up to Liverpool. I was like, got to do it. Battle on through.
One of our very first Elle-Sera's, wasn't she, Sam?
Yeah, she was. But it was just, I wasn't on form, so I couldn't really make the interview amazing because I was just like honestly dying all the way through it. Who else have we had on which has been quite memorable?
The one that's been potentially the most listened to and perhaps the most relatable was probably Claire. When you've had Claire on, a lot of women have really empathised and resonated with what she was saying in regards to her breakup. And it was maybe a nice safe space for people to, reflect on their own relationship breakdowns and stuff. I always like the ones that have got a real, like, you love an education, kind of like enthralling information. I love people. And I find it really difficult to listen to Claire's because having met her through you, I just wanted to give her a big hug. And I think she, in certain points, maybe did herself a bit of a disservice. I think she was very kind to
Oh
some
my
of the
God,
people
it
in
was
that.
just driving me nuts being sat across from her, like
Knowing
letting this guy
the
off
full
the
hit.
hook
Yeah.
constantly. And I was thinking, are you fucking for real? She was taking way too much ownership of some of the things that went wrong. She's like, I mean, it ended. And I was thinking, no, let's tell everyone why it ended. Let's call the shitbag for the shitbag that he is. And she was like, no, I'm going to be dignified. I was like, please don't be dignified. Let's just.
It wasn't even just about being dignified. I mean, she's almost still giving him a level of respect that he doesn't deserve.
Oh, God,
And,
I know. I mean, I genuinely wouldn't give him the steam off me shit. Like, fucking hell.
Wow.
In fact, genuinely, I won't even say his name. Like, and I didn't even.
But he shares a name with my ex, so there you go.
I genuinely wouldn't because he's so beneath me in terms of he's literally so beneath me. I couldn't even be asked commenting on him.
Yeah. But that one that I think that struck a chord with a lot of people. And then there has been the really educational pieces. Dr. Sahil, Professor Frank's been on twice.
Professor Frank's great.
I love Professor Frank purely for the fact he makes very, very complicated things sound very, very simple. There are things about issues that I have had my entire life that I didn't understand until he physically sat and explained them out to me. And that his was brilliant.
Dr. Jordan.
Dr. Jordan.
He was
big
great.
fan of Dr. Jordan. I think it's the
really-
northernness.
Of course.
He's such a good northern guy.
And I think he'll have a TV career. Mark my words. He was so good on this couch. I said, Jordan, I think you made for TV. And I was his first podcast.
Yeah.
Who else's first podcast have I done this year? There's somebody else. Oh, like Holly Braithwaite. Don't know if we were first podcast, but that was a really engaging chat as well.
Again, very personal, very relatable. Like, just share it. When people are listening to these things, sometimes it's just to take a break away from, learning and absorbing things. Sometimes it's just nice to be able to relate and go, oh God, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I'm like that too. Hers was another really hard listen because she's been through such a troublesome time. And if you haven't listened to these podcasts, by the way, you must go and listen to them. I cannot believe that we've now gone this is our 74th episode, by the way.
No, it's more than that.
No, it's our 74th here, but we've got some that we've done in London as well. So we're around
the 80th.
Well, I looked
on Buzzsprout last night and it said, no, it was on, was it Apple or something? It said
I'm fairly certain we're on 74, 75.
Well, I'm going to corroborate.
Have a little look.
Dr. Yusra, loved her. She's one of my faves as well. She is just incredible.
So whatever the number is, we've done a lot of them now. They've been going for a long time. I can't believe that. I know how many people that we have that download and listen to them, but yeah, our star rating is not where it needs to be.
Yeah,
so please go and give
everybody
us some stars.
every bloody week to give us a star rating. So just do it, will you?
We'll get there. We'll be up there with Diary of a CEO soon. We'll be.
I can't see. But anyway, I looked on Buzzsprout and it said 75 episodes on there.
Which is what I've just said. So
no, you're saying this one's our 75th. We're not. This will be like our 85th.
Here in the studio, but we've got them that have been re-recorded, so they'll be out after that.
No, I know, but we've got
I'm talking about right now in this moment.
in this moment.
In this moment, we're at 75.
The ones on Budsprout.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I thought you meant this
so by the time that they're listening.
By the time this goes out, we'll probably be on 85 episodes. This will be our 85th. Who's going to be the 100th?
Oh, I mean, I could probably foresee that because I've already booked them in, but...
Oh, no. Well, we need to make sure this is somebody outstanding for number 100.
Well, I could probably foresee it. We might have to do a bit of swap and changing, but we'll get it. We'll get it. Every guest that we have on here has got something outstanding to say. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here. We always try and make sure that the people that are on this podcast are here for a legitimate reason. It's either something that we're really personally interested in.
They are now.
I could say
that there has been a couple where I've thought, fucking hell, this is not what I want to listen to. I'll sit there and say that I have not been engaged in the conversation. It's not been this year, by the way. It's like one of our first few, and I was like, fucking hell, this is a nightmare.
There's a severe vetting process now, though.
I'm like, no, I'm not doing that for an hour now. So if they made it onto the couch, then it is somebody that I actually want to talk to.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think if nobody's listening, at least I need to get an education out of this.
Absolutely, and you do. I think you can always take at least 3. I always say to them, what are the 3 oh my God pointers? What are the 3 things that people can take away from what you've got to share with us? And if you can come at me with like 3 really good key pointers, then yeah, that's fine. You can come on. If they just want to talk about how they started their business, then I'm like, no one's really going to engage with that.
The other thing is, believe me, talking is a skill. I can tell a mile away of people who've just started a podcast because they haven't quite refined themselves. And I would like to think that, like, going back to podcast 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe, I'm a lot different now than I ever was back then. Like, oh my God, the difference in me. But you only pick up on the things that you do wrong by going through that pain barrier and listening back and thinking, I could have done that better. I should have said that. I should have shut up then. That's important. And talking is a real skill. So it's amazing when we get somebody on who's so clever and an expert in their field, but also they can deliver the information like a Dr. Frank, because we get some people who are so intelligent, amazing at what they do, but my God, they cannot deliver that information.
But then you've also got the shoe on the other foot, where people will come on and doesn't matter what question you ask them, because they're not answering the question. They are just reciting a beautifully crafted by their expert media team. Yeah. This is what I have to say. And it's full of like key phrases and buzzwords and all of the things that they've been told that they need to say. So
and
I think
we've
seen it on
podcast that they've done 9 or 10 times before.
And that's it. And you'll get these people that will come at you and they'll, we've had a few, we've had some really big hitters that have wanted to come on the podcast, but we've kind of gone, no, because we've already heard that. Everyone's already heard that. And we want something a little bit
just
more.
Be real and honest and don't be vague. Yeah, we've had some challenges this year. Well, no, tell us what those challenges are, because I'm really an open book, probably sometimes to my detriment. I probably shoot my mouth off a bit too much and really wear my heart on my sleeve, but whatever. I'm like, fucking hell, I fucked up there, didn't I? Listen, I've just ordered 100,000 packets for Elle-Sera and Magnesium packets that are misprinted and wrong, so we've got to throw them in the bin. I'm still making mistakes every single day, by the way. Yep. Do you know what I mean? Talk about expensive, costly mistakes. Christ, I've made some. I'm still making them, and there won't be a day when I don't, and it hurts and it's painful, but what a great experience.
And we're in 2024. By the time this airs, we're probably about to broach 2025. What's for 2025?
Okay, goals for 2025. I've actually thought of quite a few. The 100,000 on Instagram is eluding me. That's really getting on my tits. And we should be well up there by then. So
got a few things up my sleeve for that.
By the by, that's not even a real goal. Real goal, genuinely, is probably want to launch another product. I think it's probably naive of me to think that you could scale a business with one SKU. We've done a Magnesium now, which is great. Absolutely love it. And it's something that everybody wants. I often ask the audience, like, what is it that you take every day? By the way, I would make an omega-3 tomorrow if I could find an amazing version of it. Again, I'm not bothering, not wasting my breath or my time or my energy or my money if it's not going to go in and be bang, number 1, best in the market. Mm-hmm. So I'm yet to find a supplier that can give me the best of the best of the best. But there is a couple of other things. I mean, I won't even go into them, but I did a formulation yesterday, contacted a company because their version of this is like the purest and it's patented and it's amazing. So I was thinking, oh, maybe we could add that because I'm seeing a lot of talk about that. It's something I take myself all the time. And genuinely, if I take it, then I always, that's the litmus test for me. Because I think, would I take this?
Yeah.
You know, well, if the answer is yes, then I think other people would too. And I'm not out to be second best, and I'm not out to make something that somebody else is doing with my name on it. I'm not going to do that. It's either got to be inventive, innovative or something, or better, or I'm not wasting my time. Because that's what gets me excited. As long as I can stand there with the whites of my eyes and say, this is the best, then fair enough. So that's one thing. I think merch, we should sell the merch, 100%. All our little gifts that we do, which are great little things that just show our kind of thankfulness for your custom, really. But everybody asks us about our uniform, which is like our jumpers, which we just basically got printed so that I couldn't be asked thinking what to wear every morning and trying to like tart up for the office. But everybody asks us about them. So I think maybe we should sell a little bit of merch next year. And maybe, I don't know, we start looking across the pond, putting some irons in the fire over there, setting up some distribution over in maybe America, in Europe, whatever. We've also changed the packaging.
We have.
I think that's now is the time to.
We've also, there's a lot that's been changed for 2025, actually.
Yeah. So you iterate, don't you, with a business? It might start with one thing, but then you get feedback from customers. And one of the biggest feedback things was about the golden decanter. And while everybody loves it, including me, I absolutely love it. The feedback has always been, can you do a screw top? And we're like, yeah, we'll give it a go. And we've tried to give it a go multiple times with that brass decanter and it ain't going anywhere. It's not right. It's like, and we don't want to be asking people to put WD-40 on it. You know, it's a health supplement.
Blow the hairdryer on it, that'll sort it out.
So we are switching to glass.
We are.
Yeah, which, and it's still beautiful. It's still lovely. Yeah, and and the thing is, you know, the quality control on the brass is so difficult. They're so expensive. They're so heavy to import over. And we've got so many of them in the office that are completely unusable. And I'm looking at thousands of pounds worth of stock that cannot be used and cannot, you know, what can we do with them? Weld it down into a sculpture. That's about the only thing we could do with that black brass. So, yeah, we want to kind of eliminate that and do a better product, make it a better product. It genuinely is a better product, I'll be honest. Yeah, so obviously making that into glass, it's slightly bigger than the decanter. It's still gorgeous, it's still beautiful. So, but that obviously means that everything else has to be redone. So all our packaging has to be redone because now it's a different size. And these are just little headaches that when you're a really small team like we are, and actually I think we should expand the team. But that's another job. Finding great talent and people that really care about stuff as much as you do is a talent in itself. And people that are local, because you want to keep that collaboration in the office as well.
Yeah.
I know there's some businesses that operate remotely. That's how they scale. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of there's a lot of positives from collaboration.
Work from home culture I don't think is there's a place for it, and there's definitely days where we'll go, right, I'm just gonna sort this out from home. So I'm just gonna sit here where no one else can bother me and I'm just gonna get it sorted. But no, from a collaborative perspective, there's actually nothing worse the amount of times that you would have to go back and forth changing something, when if you were physically sat next to me it would be done a lot quicker.
Oh my God, yeah. When we've got the graphic designer in the office and I'm like, okay, cool, right, no, make that bigger, no, make it smaller, no. Can you imagine like the journal pictures we were doing last week and we were going backwards and forwards with it? Oh my God, that magnesium packet redesign, backwards and forwards. I couldn't even be off looking at the email chain. It must have been about 25 different iterations.
No. There's people, possibly even globally, that I would love to come and work at Elle-Sera because they are absolute devout cheerleaders. But you just need to be in the Northwest. You've just got to be around. So watch this space if there's anybody in the Northwest that would, thinks that they could offer something spectacular to us.
Yeah,
be in touch.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have taken on a member of staff. Phoebe.
We have taken on, yeah. Phoebe is our social media girl. She is the reason that the feed is now looking super glamorous and bougie and beautiful. She's that person that won't just put things out off the cuff, which is definitely what I used to do. And Elissa just used to hate it. But I was just like, we just need to get something out there. But now it's all, pre-orchestrated, edited, beautiful. There's purpose, there's hashtags, there's collaborative tags, there's everything going on there. So yeah, Phoebe, big shout out to Phoebe and welcome to the Elle-Sera team. She's been with us for about three months now.
Yeah.
So should we putting this out? Should we be listening to this?
Yeah. So I think maybe expansion, definitely with more team members. We've iterated the product a little bit in terms of packaging design and things like that. So so just onwards and upwards. Let's spread the golden word. I know we've got our other little. I've got all the goals. Do you know what I mean? In terms of like revenue, I want to double the revenue this year. I've got zero idea how that's going to happen, by the way. I know everybody just says, just spend more. I'm like, yeah, it's not your money, mate. So how about we don't spend more? How about you work a bit harder and a bit more smarter?
There you go. Working smarter, not harder.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll do a little bit of that.
But yeah, so
I think all in all, 2024 has been a really good year. I've really enjoyed it. There's definitely been some big hurdles, but we've overcome them because we do every single year and we do really well. And I think we're in a really great position ready to tackle 2025, and we have the best customers to do that alongside. I think they are our little golden army. They're how we scale and we get bigger, because they are the people that will go out there and tell the world that Elle-Sera is the product that every single person should be taking, male or female now, because Magnesium is of course the unisex product as well. But onwards and upwards for 2025. But I think it's been a very good year.
Yeah, it has.
And
thank God it ended strong.
We'll see you all in 2025.
Yeah, thank you so much.